Ladies and gentlemen, this is a Sensu introduction, and I would like to take the time to tell you about what we're doing here and what the goal is of this platform. We're based in Tokyo. We created this thing basically out of a garage, and it is a tool to manage digital content in a way that you've never seen before. These things are behaving like objects in a way. You can display them in different ways. They're files. They're files or they're links. For example, in this case, if I zoom in a little bit, this here is an Airbnb apartment. This is a picture. This is an article that I just dragged into this. There's some Instagram pictures in here, and also in this case we have another Airbnb apartment, and these things, they link back to their original sources. So whatever I drag into this, Sensu handles it. So it doesn't matter if it's a file or a link. It doesn't matter if it's a 5 gigabyte file or like 100 high resolution pictures. Anything that was ever made digital basically can be made into something, into Sensu. That was the goal. Think of it as a library for everything you love. All the stuff you find on the internet. We live our lives today on the internet, and we find things also on platforms like YouTube. And now with Sensu, you can manage that content similar to how you would manage your room or maybe your desk. You can simply move them around. And of course, you can move them to other people. Think of this here as a virtual desk that I have right now, and I can display it in different ways. I can show the content, I can only show the pictures, and yeah, it's made to run in your browser in a very performant way. But now what I also can do is I can take this folder and transform it into something that I can send to other people. So this is what we call a shared link. You probably saw that already when you are on Dropbox. And you can copy and paste this link and send it to anybody. Put it in Facebook, you can change the view. All these items I could send within a second basically to anybody in the world. And those people can download those items, or they can send the selection back, they can do something with it, they can move these items somewhere else. The way that we send this, think you had an email that has a built-in tool to actually manage that content and to display it in a beautiful way. If you send an email these days and you have objects inside, there's a limitation how much you can send, how it will look like, and you are not really feeling that you're accessing objects as you're sending something. You're feeling like you was constrained by a tool that was created maybe over 20 years ago. And we moved on. That is the thing. We created new contents on the internet, digital content, and tools today are not able to handle that. So when I show you this here, please bear in mind this is a prototype. So if you use it, if you start using it, don't focus too much on the details. The menus are wrong in many ways. For example, like this here, that's still legacy. So like we created a long time ago. There's a lot of stuff inside that's basically system stuff that only we use. We kept it inside. If you're watching this video and if you are using Sensu at that time, you're an alpha user. That means we selected you to experience something, what I would call a construction site. And this construction site is incomplete, but it shows you already where this can go. Imagine a tool where you can move content in a way, maybe like you know it from Minority Report or Iron Man. You can display anything in any way you like. And these things, like I said, can be normal content that you might have on your hard disk. There might be files. You might use this thing for a meeting where you want to do it in a visual way, or you just want to distribute things to other people. You might want to watch a lot of videos with it, organize your world, like sounds and videos, or you might want to use it in a more technical way. Like you might want to use it to backing up files or sending files, or you might want to use it for shopping. For example, just to show you this one example, what we can do is these are what we call snippets. This is an Amazon product, and I just dragged it into it, and instead of sending somebody a link, like copying this and putting in an email, all I do is I use my Sensu and I open up a folder here and I drag this product inside here, and it then appears in my Sensu. Sorry, now I drag this into this folder called upload. So didn't want to do that, but let's do it anyhow. This is the folder where I just dragged this thing into. And what you see here now is the object that I just dragged into this. And now I can go to my hard disk and take a few pictures and drag them in here too, and they upload. At the same time, I'm taking this Airbnb apartment and drag it in here. I bookmarked it from Airbnb before. Then maybe I take a few of these items here and drag them in here. And suddenly I have a folder with a whole lot of content inside. And I can do something with it. First of all, I can display it. I can take a look at it. And let's say I want to look at these things in big. And sorry, let me just restart that. I'm using, this is kind of like a music player that I created using Sensu, just arranging certain videos. So, and now I can take this selection and give it to the outside world, give it to anybody I want. I create what I call a shared link, which is this link up here. This is public, as long as you know the link, and you can access these items. You can, for example, click on this link from the Airbnb apartment and you're being taken to Airbnb, where this item is coming from. And instead of sending a long link, you're just sending this small snippet. You can also download, for example, the pictures here to your hard disk. You can follow this link from shopping. Think of a shopping list for Christmas. Think of a list of hotels that you want to send to somebody. It's an infrastructure in a way. It's a very sophisticated technology that allows you to combine anything with anything, put anything together, videos, links, files. Think what you can do with it. If you see down the road, as you see marketplaces happening in there, you can use it as a kind of alternative internet. You can connect devices directly and drag and drop things between them, like an operating system working in your browser, working in the internet, between devices. And like I said, when you use Sensu, there's a lot of tutorial videos that I created, and some of them are also created by my team, and showing use cases, how you might use Sensu. And everybody uses Sensu in a different way, the same way that everybody is like decorating the room in a different way, or placing pictures on the walls in a different way. And this freedom to create as a person, as an individual, as a creative person, to see what you're working on, why you're working on it, to be not constrained by a grid, but at the same time being able to form a grid if you want to be able to send an email that's maybe 30 gigabyte big and nobody telling you that won't work, but you can just do it, to not having to rely on, for example, WeTransfer. If you go to WeTransfer, we're facing an interface like this. So like, take me to the free version. I have to, this is what I do in order to transfer maybe like pictures. I go in here, and what I just did before with the same files would kind of look like this. So now it's adding the files, and this is how it looks like, but I don't see those pictures. I don't know what they are. I can't even confirm whether they are the right pictures. I don't see them anymore. But if you do the same thing in Sensu, you see what you're doing. You can zoom those items. You can display them in really big, and you can just drag and drop. So I think I said enough about the philosophy. Just when you use the prototype, remember this is just an issue version. So we have a dark design which kind of like looks a little bit like Photoshop. It's way not as sophisticated as it should be. All these things take time. We only have a few developers, and we're working on the core technology. And within the next weeks, you will see a lot of changes, how it will look like. And just to show you on the designs that we're working on right now, you see here, for example, like a new library, how it's being constructed, and different screens and menus. And all of this will be implemented. It just takes time. So like, if you want to give feedback, I would be really interested to hear like how you use Sensu. What are you doing with it? Look at this, for example. What kind of content is it that you are managing with Sensu? What kind of things do you want to manage with Sensu? How would you like to manage your digital world? These are things that interest me. In the end, if you ask what is possible in order to change the system, anything is possible. So if you ask, is this possible that I add this? Yes, it is. Like, it's just a matter of development and time and resources, of course. But small things, like for example, changing the menus here, we have a list of things that we want to do. Like you can see here, like all of these, like here we see Reich, where we manage the development. We have a whole list of ideas and things we want to do. in order to make it better, but it takes time to go there. So by having alpha users, we have access to your creativity. We want to create a tool that's completely free and that allows you to work without limits, especially without constraints. This is the goal. We're trying to create something that nobody ever created before, and insofar we're figuring it out on the way. We never did this before. We are creative people, but we also understand that people who are not necessarily creative want to organize their lives, and they want to do it in a way that they probably decorate their room or that they put things on their desk. It's also in a free way. In the internet, we should be free, but most tools don't allow it to be free, but they put you in constraints of their webpage, and we wanted to change that. So just to show one more thing before we go. This is a demonstration video that we created, and first of all, just want to comment on that. Look at this here, for example. We have a few iPads arranged together with a computer, and we're taking one item and we're dragging it somewhere else. Maybe just, here's a comparison between Google Drive and us, and that'll be much faster here. You see this thing from National Geographic, you put it in here and it's transferring to the other device within a second. I drag it with my fingers and it appears somewhere else. This is something we normally see in CSI movies or like in Iron Man or something, that you completely freely drag content. And what Sensu wants to give you is exactly this feeling that you have from science fiction movies. We all know how we want modern interfaces to look like, for example here, but nobody ever develops it because it actually takes a lot of time and effort and also money to do that. What you see here in this video is you see me dragging Instagram pictures on one side and they appear on the other computer immediately, and I just treat them like objects. Imagine you can just take something out of Instagram and place it on a wall, and then you take that wall and you have it in your pocket and give it to your friend. And if you want to look at all those pictures in big, you can. All of this is at your fingertips, and the moment you log into Sensu, you're able to do that. So please, when you use it, we're so happy about your feedback. Think about what's possible. Don't think about what it doesn't do. You probably already know that. I mean, we want to know that too. But this is a construction site and we give you early access. We hope you enjoy it. And if you have any questions, we're always there. You're now part of this laboratory, of this experiment that tries to create a tool for the future that will change the way the internet is being managed. Thank you very much for listening, and I'm looking forward to the next video, and hopefully you watch all the tutorials. You can access me directly in the link. There's my email address. Please feel free to email me anytime. Connect with me on Facebook, and I hope we talk soon. Thank you so much.